talking to Spiros Batasatos, who is head of the South Shore Convention and Visitors Authority here in Northwest Indiana, about casino gaming. One of the ideas is not dockside gaming, but land-based gaming. Do you think that would make a big difference in Indiana?
That is such a complex issue between the operators that our organization has kind of jokingly taken a stance that said, you know, until the day we see Mayor McDermott holding hands with Scott Pelath walking into the State House, this is not going to be an issue we want to get involved in. You have some operators like Horseshoe that have spent so much money making that dockside facility world class. You have others that haven't, that need to make an investment. So I don't know what the answer is, because it has been a hot topic to legislators ever since the day legislation was passed 20-some years ago. So
Gary clearly would like to see land-based gaming.
Sure they would. And they wanted to see it when the idea for gaming sprung up in 1980, whatever it was. I think that we have to incent the casinos. Part of it we talked about was free play, but I think we also need to make sure we are being very what's the word I'm looking for, that we want to incent them to make more investments in the community. The better the product, the more people they're going to attract, the more money that is going to come into Indiana. So I think that there are a lot of policies that could be put on the table. Land-based is one of those that will just absolutely wreak havoc, because everybody's divided, including the statewide licensees, who can't come to some consensus on that.
In the end, is it just the gaming market is not going to become so fragmented that maybe people aren't going to see gaming as a real destination? You're not necessarily want to go to a convention to go to gaming, because you can have video poker at a bar in Illinois. Is there anything you can do to really turn that around?
Again, I'm not smart enough to tell you what the answers are. I can tell you from a destination point of view, the guy who markets the whole product, of which gaming is just one aspect. We need to make investments in the destination. We need a convention center. We need demand drivers, which could be amateur sports complexes like in Crown Point, and more of them. We need to create new facilities that people will take a look at and go, oh, hey, there's gaming there as well, and they'll spend some time in any one of our 4 casinos. So, where we are, unless we really untie the purse strings for the riverboats and they spend tons of money at the shoreline, which could be helped by cities. I mean, maybe Hammond wants to do a massive redevelopment, or East Chicago or Gary, where there becomes now a village around that, or some kind of entertainment district. Those are the only things that I see that will really move the needle in a shorter term in a meaningful way, as an infusion of policy and money.
The casinos that are shutting down in Atlantic City are some of the biggest. I mean, Revel was over $2 billion, and it's only been open for a couple of years.
The newest product out there. I mean, the shiniest, glitziest one there.
And they're closing down. Donald Trump, he had a casino here. He's closing down the Taj Mahal in Atlantic City. Does Northwest Indiana have to start preparing for the day when there may not be as many casinos here?
I don't think that we're anywhere near that yet. We have very sophisticated casino general managers in Lake County. I mean, they are, and in Michigan City as well. I mean, these guys are the best and brightest. I think they're managing their margins very carefully. We would be available to them anytime to help once they decide what is the policy we're going after. We look forward to serving them. I don't think that crisis is that bad here, because they do a great job at marketing themselves. They have very loyal players, and they work well within the destination.
Would that change if there were a casino just over the border inside of Illinois?
I think that really depends on where, just over the border. The prevailing school of thought that I've always been talked to and come to understand with a Chicago casino, I'll liken it to shopping. When you and your bride decide you want to go do some shopping, you may make that once-a-year trip to the Mag Mile, walk around, have a great day, really make that a destination point again. When you need a pair of socks or a new shirt, you're going to run over here to the local store and pick that up, which is pretty much the same analogy for gaming. Your loyal players are going to play in your facilities maybe once a year. After they go see the new product, they'll go downtown. Now, something right over the border, I think that takes the wind out of the sails, and we saw that with even Three Rivers. Or Rivers Casino, I'm sorry. We saw the tire kicking and the numbers fall down, and they're inching their way back up. But it's become very, very, very saturated in the gaming marketplace.
Do you hear a lot from the casinos themselves? You mentioned Mayor McDermott and Mayor Piloth coming together in the State House, but that might be one. But do the casinos themselves talk to one another? Do they have a plan for what they want to do?
They do talk to each other. I was in conversation. I have two of the boats are on our board, have representation on our board, and they're very much in communication with each other. Part of your problem is you have two casinos in Indiana that aren't a member of the Casino Association. So you have fragmented interests, and I, just as an outsider, pure spectator, I think we'd be better served looking at broader policies like free play, like tax incentives for investment, making more of them, doing some of that stuff than, that land-based issue, and Earlene, to her credit, every year goes in like a pit bull and tries to get this done. It's a difficult issue.
How much should we be concerned about the potential loss of jobs here? Most of these jobs, are they cocktail waitresses and the like? These are not jobs that will be hard to replace. They're not like a job in a steel mill.
Well, I think we've already seen what a job in a steel mill means. I mean, we've lost all of those that we're going to lose, and the industry shrunk itself down to the bare bones, and now they do what they need. Yeah, there may be a cocktail waitress that loses their job, but our industry is a lot more than that. We are people like myself who started mowing the lawn at the Holiday Star Theater, so we have portable, transferable skills in the industry. We should always be concerned about losing jobs, whether it's in gaming or hospitality or steel. I mean, our economy in Northwest Indiana is still fragile enough that if we lose 100 jobs, that's bad news. And I don't care if they're casino jobs or they're medical jobs. We're not in a condition in this economy to lose ground in any employment marketplace.
All right. That's where we're going to leave it. Spiros Batastatos, head of the South Shore Convention and Visitors Authority. Thank you so much for being on.
You're very welcome.